Step outside.
All right. Yate, everyone. Thank you very much for joining us this evening, Indigenous Ways Wisdom Circle. We'd like to take the time to acknowledge the traditional owners of these lands and the ancestors, the Ogapoge Owinge, also known as Santa Fe, here that we reside in, and all of you where you're beaming in from. We'd also like to acknowledge the caretakers of your lands and the ancestors as well. So this evening, we have a really exciting guest who is fresh out of college. Wiyaka Pomarleau is an emerging hip hop artist from Oglala Lakota Nation. Combining rhythmic hip hop beats with his Lakota values, he writes songs designed to inspire, heal, and empower our future generations. Wiyaka is a student and graduate and recent graduate from the Institute of American Indian Arts, and we're going to hear all about that. And so I'd like to take this time to welcome Wiyaka Pomarleau. Woohoo!
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you very much for joining us this evening, Wiyaka. I'd like to start this interview moderated questionnaire gathering with a question about your short bio. Can you tell us about yourself?
Yeah. So I'm Oglala Lakota and Ndene, Kiani, and French on my dad's side, and also part Ojibwe. I just recently graduated from the Institute of American Indian Arts in Santa Fe. It's been an incredible experience developing myself as an artist and meeting so many artists there. And that's part of how I found IndigenousWays out there. And I started about 4 years ago when I first met you guys working with your music festival. And I loved the power that your festival has to bring community together, to have a place for people to be themselves. And what you do for the community, like I want to see that in all parts of, every reservation, where people have a place to share their artwork, express themselves, and develop. I have a clothing brand called Tatanka by Wiyaka. This is the design that I have. It's based off the buffalo, and a lot of that is finding the meaning of how the buffalo has gone through, faced near the brink of extinction, but has now found a way to start rebuilding and reconnecting. And I find a lot of power in that. So I want to bring that to the forefront of what it is to be indigenous in today's day and age.
Awesome. So tell us about your early beginnings, like where you were raised and who influenced you the most growing up.
Yeah, I kind of hopped around all over growing up. I went to numerous different schools. I went to school in Colorado and even briefly in Hawaii and in Honolulu. I went to school in Pine Ridge, South Dakota. So I have a lot of diverse upbringing as far as different communities. And I was technically an only child, but my younger aunt, who's like my sister, we grew up and it was just kind of us two, or it was just me, depending on where I was at the time. And you kind of have to find yourself. A lot of the times I had such a unique upbringing that I didn't always meet people right away that related to who I was. As far as when I'm growing up, I grew up with long hair when I was very young. And when you're that young, it's easy to get mistaken for a girl. Like if I go to the restroom, people would double look like, you in the right restroom or am I in the wrong one? So very unique upbringing for someone who's indigenous. Like long hair is common for when you're in the indigenous community. But when you're out going different parts of where we are now, it's takes a while for people to like understand you. So a lot of times I had to find artists, and back when internet wasn't such, you know, as prevalent as it is now, a lot of times you would just find artists on the radio. My grandma played a lot of Tupac, so I have a lot of hip hop influences. And but to find like since my perspective is so unique, I had to kind of develop my own artistry to find my unique identity, because there wasn't very like prominent indigenous hip hop artists or too many music, like you wouldn't hear them on the radio. As far as, you know, when you're that young, a lot of times before the internet, artists had to come to you through, whether it was radio. We didn't have as much access to just go on and find it like we do now. So I had to develop, you know, so I have hip hop influences, and developing, you know, the buffalo, the tatanka, incorporating that into the music that I do now. It's having a unique perspective has helped me shape into finding who I am as an artist, and showing other people. The more that people find themselves through their art, the more they're able to share it with whether they're young or new or old artists. Because I don't think there's an age of being an artist. It depends on what you're doing it for. If it's for a medicinal purpose to help express yourself, and then it just opens the doors for everyone to be that type of artist. Oh, I think you have the mute button.
That is amazing that you are having that kind of insight at this time in your life. It sounds like you've had a lot of really wonderful role models to be insightful enough to propel you to kind of open your periphery, that there's a big world out there and there's a way to express it through your own designs and your own imaginative creativity. So what I'm curious about is what really inspires your designs? Because it looks like you did say the buffalo and the resilience, but I see in your design you have certain patterns. Is there some kind of symbology in that, or is that just a creative expression?
It's both. A lot of it is, since arrows, they're pointing up, and you also have going down. There's the ups and downs, and it's uplifting. You know, as far as the buffalo being driven to the brink of extinction, they had to basically rise again. So it's that constant up and down, that struggle to survive. And a lot of it what really struck as significant to me is learning about how when storms come, a lot of the cow that are not actually like from this area originally, when the storms come, they get scared and they start running away. But when the storm's coming, they follows them together, so they just spend more time in the storm. Whereas the tatanka, the buffalo, would face the storm and charge at it, so they cross over each other. And there's a lot of mental, spiritual wisdom in that, to be able to face whatever you're going through head on, and instead of running away from it, because then it's easy to get stuck in that. And
that's amazing.
Thank you. Yeah,
that's amazing. That's amazing how you're able to use the movements of the animals and the way the four-leggeds, especially the buffalo, being such a iconic symbol for a lot of Native Americans, particularly Plains Indians, and for you to think about that into your own life. And to me, that's very indigenous, to learn from the winged ones, the birds, the four-legged, the animals, and the ones that are in the water, and use them as the teachers. And that's really beautiful. So I think that's a really good way for you to go. So what inspires the other artists' work that you do? What kind of genres do you engage in besides doing that design that I'm seeing on your beautiful clothing, on your beautiful being? What other what kind of work do you do?
I developed a love for hip hop from a young age. I just noticed that there's so much power into it, and you can really take it in any direction you want. Which, you know, with a lot of power comes a lot of responsibility. You can drive the culture in pretty much any direction you want to. So it's important to be mindful and to really take that into consideration, because you don't need a million followers to influence the culture. Just we're starting with your community and your words, your energy, it all impacts the people around you. And you want to, it's kind of like laying the foundation or the soil for how do you, you know, when you're going to have maybe the next generation, whether it's your kids or just nephews, just whatever the younger generation is, they're inheriting the world that we're creating now. So it's important to decide what type of, you know, if we're thinking of soil, fertilizing the soil to be healthy so that they're able to find who they are without being bombarded with distractions or sometimes music, modern hip hop, sometimes it leads young people down a path that's not beneficial, that's not looking out for them. So it's good to find ways that can.
Good point. That's really true. The creative process can go many different ways. It can go in a good way and influence people in a positive way, in a positive direction. And it can also go in a negative way, because I've heard some really nasty hip hop music that I will never listen to again. And I've heard some really amazing hip hop music with a really good message. So I kind of keep my eye out for that artist to see what their developments and what their movements are. And that's a really excellent point, is to pick and choose all of that. So does your hip hop and I guess what you're doing right now is clothing design? Is that what's going on with you? So do you do the clothing design, or do you actually design the clothing, as in, like, you know, make the indigenous contemporary outfits? Do you do any kind of like sewing or anything like that?
Not so much. I realize that that's not particularly my strongest talent. I have dived into it a little bit, but most of I work with my uncles who have been creating, you know, doing their own clothes as well. So I kind of have the collaboration process, and I just find ways I really do focus on sports. Like, I think that's a way for especially when I'm thinking of young indigenous people, we could get them into sports. That's just one form of a healthy lifestyle. As long as also with diet, eating foods that are healthy, which is not always easy in places like, you know, South Dakota. The access to healthy food is not always readily available. But creating, whether it's basketball jerseys, whatever influences stuff that I like personally, and being able to help encourage that, because I mean, we haven't had a lot of basketball stuff that really is for us indigenous people, Lakota, where I'm from specifically. So just creating it and then getting more people, it brings people together, and that's how we're able to develop community.
Sure does. Sports is a big thing, and it's a big thing worldwide on a global stage. So that's a really positive outlet for sure, is get out and move body, be healthy, and compete in a healthy way that doesn't turn vicious. So sometimes that's unavoidable for some people when they're really extremely, when they're really overly competitive and stuff like that. Like they can't accept a loss, and that's really unfortunate. It's hard to lose, but it's also there's also a way to walk away with dignity too from the loss and just go out and do better next time. So changing gears here, can you educate us a little bit about your generation's views on identity? For example, why it's important to reference yourself, with the pronouns, and what do these references mean and why are they important? Because I know at IAIA, there's all over the bulletin boards the importance of respecting the students' wishes to be able to self-express of how they want to identify. Can you give us a little bit of education about that?
I think a lot of it comes from being boxed in. A lot of people haven't felt that they've been able to express themselves in the way that they feel connected to. So some people want to really bring that forward as when they're coming into a new space, how they want to be addressed. And I think it's a form of respect, really. And that's important in any setting. When you come in, if you give respect, show respect, you're able to connect, you're able to bring here. A lot of people, young people, old people, we need that spiritual healing. Because when we go through day to day, a lot of times we don't have time to, whether it's meditate, to ground ourselves. So we have to kind of bring that, whether you view it as a spirituality thing or not, but bringing that good energy to every social setting, because we're connecting with people and we need to remember that we're all human together. And a lot of times, this fast-paced world that we're living in today, it's easy to look at each other as just, oh, well, this person helps me get through here, and this person will help me with this project. But we're really here to help each other and remember that who we are. We're here. We're living this life journey, and it's important that we feel connected and together.
Don, so you went from IAIA just a few weeks ago, did your graduation, completed that, and now you're in Colorado and staying with your grandmother. How does that feel? Tell us about your grandmother and yours relationship. Grandmothers are so important to a lot of us, and many of us have lost our sacred grandmothers. So how does that impact your life, going from one grounding of college into another grounding of ancestrality?
It feels great to have to be together and to help each other out. Having It's important to have that young and that old come together, because we have so much to learn from each other. And seeing, she had all that history of being indigenous, being from Pine Ridge, South Dakota. Whenever I'm tackling a new project, having that guidance of someone I could talk to know where, because a lot of things don't change as far as when new problems come, it relates somehow to the past. So I'm appreciative of her to be someone that I could trust, bring whatever I'm going through. We have that open conversation, and she's seen it all. She's been through it all. So that's something that I'm just so grateful for her.
You are so blessed. I can't think of a better way to step out of college than to go move in with grandmother, masane. That is so cool. It fills my heart to think about grandmothers, because I think about my grandmother. I thought about my own grandmother today. I was recording in a studio, and I was told by the filmmakers to look into the camera while I'm singing. So when I was looking into the camera, I just thought about my grandmother. I just saw her gaze. I saw her depth. I saw her eyes, and I just sang into my grandmother, looking into those lenses. And it's really powerful what spirits and ancestrality can do, even though our sacred ones are no longer with us. They're still with us, in spirit and heart, and certainly in DNA running through our blood, for sure. So we get to live that prophecy of indigeneity on and all others. So tell us about your experience at IA, and how long were you there, and what was that experience like, being on the campus and just enmeshed in all of that whole social activity besides artwork?
I loved it. I was there 4 years, and the experience I was able to take from there, it was so different from what I viewed school as, regular school, just learning from the book and memorizing and just getting through it for the grade. I felt like I was able to really connect. So grateful for Sheila Rocha, because she really she really lives what she teaches, and the way she's able to communicate and express and bring people together, I'm so thankful, and I'm inspired, and I use that energy that she gave to the students to help spread that energy of healing. And she treats indigenous performance as ceremony, as healing, as spiritually medicinal, and that feels right. When I go to perform, that's that feeling that I want to give to whether the audience, whatever the community that I'm at. When you have that form of healing, it's easier to stay focused on your goals, to remember what's important, and not get caught up in whatever day-to-day frustrations or problems that you're facing. It helps provide direction.
So you're saying performing arts, like being on stage doing hip hop, or do you mean like being in a play and taking on another character and becoming that character? Did you get to experience any of that kind of theater arts at IAIA?
Yeah, I got to perform a play that I wrote loosely based on Pine Ridge, South Dakota. I got to perform it for AHEC, and it was so much fun. It was a great experience. We didn't win because I think some people loved it, and then some people, I think my plays they're kind of crazy, kind of out there sometimes. So I think it was a love-hate thing. Some people loved it. Some people found something they didn't like about it. But we had so much fun doing it. And the audience, the crowd, the energy they gave back was healing. It was so exciting. So that was the first time doing that kind of theater performance on a large scale like that, which is new to me. But yeah, no, also another form of healing, another form of ceremony. Even if it is on the stage, it still has, if you bring that good energy, you could bring it to any type of art that you do.
So AHEC, what is that and where is that and what is it for?
It's every year, it's different tribal schools. They'll compete, and they have a lot of different categories, even from sports, from basketball. They have knowledge bowls, they have archery, all kinds of different competitions for tribal schools to come meet up. It's in different places every year. I believe the next one is in Rapid City.
Wow.
It's still quite a few months away, but that's a lot of fun. I competed in hand games. That was new for me, and that's a lot of fun. It just reconnecting with different tribal schools, friends from afar. That's also a great experience. That's what I recommend for people too. If they're questionable about school, there's so many great experiences that you could be missing out on when you keep pushing school back for whatever it is. So I think those type of experiences they're so invaluable. So I always push for that. I always recommend it.
That's awesome. So now you're done with school. Now you're creating art. You're in Colorado with your sacred grandmother. What do you foresee? Like, do you have a vision? Do you have a business plan? Because I know IAIA gets the students ready with their portfolios, and they have all this resources available to really send students out on their way with not only their inventory, but also their package of how they're going to market themselves. Because when I went to IAIA back in the day, I think it was a lot different. And I think they've realized that a lot of Indigenous artists, when they graduate from college, it's like, what now? Because IA's been holding us all this time, holding us, housing us, feeding us, giving us the studio space and all the different options for all these genres. But now we're out. What do we do? Go back to the reservation? And if we go back to the reservation, what's there? Do we have the skill sets to get motivated and set up some kind of new nonprofit to bring the community together. And some people just aren't ready for that. You know, they come out of college and they're still kind of green going, what am I going to do now? Should I go on for my master's? Should I go to graduate school, or should I just get a job, or should I just chill and create art and learn how to market myself? How do you process all that stuff?
I think all of the above, because school is still important to me. I feel like the opportunity is there. So I'm also looking into continuing further education, whether it's master degree, different areas, but also developing where I have the clothing brand, I have the music, I'm working with people, staying involved with the people who love to do the same type of art as me. It's a collaborative experience still. You have to be more proactive when you're not in school because you don't have that constant circle around you. So you have to be very proactive, but keep pushing towards it. I was laying the groundwork from the start, so I know the direction I want to move in, and that's pushing, sharing who I am, sharing the brand, and working with other artists, other brands who have this similar goals in mind, similar vision. So it's really continuing what I've built, what I started building over the years. So the vision is bringing it together, going to different places, staying connected. It really just continues to grow on its own. As long as yeah, keep staying with it.
I like how you said others and you threw in collaborative as opposed to competitive. So that sounds like decolonizing in itself, because to compete is to separate the arts in that way, in my opinion. And to collaborate is kind of like to develop coalitions, which means, what do we do when somebody else is succeeding? What do we do when that other person got the grant, or got the whatever to propel them forward with their career, and I didn't get it, you didn't get it? Do we get mad and get jealous, or do we applaud them and say, right on, buddy, brother, sister, however you identify, they, them, she, her, him, her, go for it. How can I support you in any way I can? This is beautiful. I love you. Keep going. And just kind of do that. And I think that's really a new way to think about addressing the conquer and divide mentality that has intentionally and unconsciously affected a lot of us that come from marginalized communities. Do you want to talk about that a little bit?
Yeah, I think it's coming out of that mindset of scarcity. The way I look at it is, no one is taking food off of my plate. There's so many opportunities out there. And just because one of them you didn't get, someone else got, that's one opportunity for one specific thing. It's a big world. The opportunities are truly endless. A lot of times you have to create your own at the beginning and then let the opportunities come to you. If you're creating what you really believe in, the world's gonna see, and then the right people are gonna come to you. I feel like I have a more organic relationship with Indigenous ways, because a lot of our visions of community, of healing, they align. So it wasn't like I had to go out and try to pitch ideas. It comes more naturally when you're living what you want to create. And there's no, that mindset of scarcity is I think is very outdated. I think we need to let that go. I think every day is an opportunity to create, to collaborate. We're able to connect so much easier now. If we continue growing what we want to see in the future, people can take it so far. Like, I don't even think we really understand how far we can take it. We have the power to influence the culture, influence so much. So it's just living who we are and letting that shine, letting that be the beacon for the direction we want to go.
Wow. Well, I could really see you in a lot of different ways, and one of the ways that I can see you is as a filmmaker, like a producer, a writer, and just getting into that field, because you just have so much vibrant energy, and how you see art and how you see creation and stuff. And it looks like that's a big doorway that's open for Indigenous culture, where major platforms have taken Indigenous stories, and some big producers and directors said, "Hey, I like that story. I'm going to go ahead and take it, and I'm going to direct it. I'm going to produce it, but you guys get to pick your own directors, and you guys get to pick your own team, and run with it." And some of it's on Hulu, and some of it's on Netflix, and it's just so wonderful to. I was in Australia a few months ago and staying in a Airbnb, and I don't remember what city I was in, but there was Wi-Fi, and I decided to check out Netflix. And guess what I watched? I watched Fry Bread Face. Oh my God. Have you seen that?
I haven't yet.
Oh man. It was like stepping into my backyard as a child. So I recommend everybody to watch Fry Bread Face. And I'm sure there's some other movies out there that are in the making. So that's really exciting stuff. So yeah.
Yeah, I got to work a little bit with filmmaking for my last semester at Institute of American Indian Arts. And that is I was surprised at how much goes into the video editing, the filming, getting everybody together at the same time to shoot. Great experience though. That's one of the most collaborative mediums of art that I know. But the stories that you're able to create, and that's the beauty, is that we can create our own stories at this point. We're not reliant on finding the producer and finding the director and finding all these outside sources to then create our story. We can really do it on our own at this point. And then if people want to hop along and contribute and help bring that story to life, then that's great. But it's no longer a requirement. So it really comes down to us and what kind of stories we want to tell.
That's right. That's right. Right now, with the internet age and just the whole Wi-Fi thing, where our whole lives are right here in this thing called a device, called an iPhone or an Android or whatever, and we don't even need computers anymore or laptops. People just do their business on their phone. I mean, everything's there, right? Including the filmmaking, including the garage band, the music recording, and all that kind of stuff. So, are you really techno savvy?
I'm learning and I'm pretty good at it, but it is a big field and there's always more to learn. But as far as the entry level, I have a pretty good understanding of how to just get everything started. There's definitely a lot to learn, a lot of YouTube tutorials to watch
Yeah.
to really expand on it. But yeah, as far as just getting the ball rolling, a lot of times it's just getting started, and then that momentum will carry you through.
That's true. That's true. So when you were a child, particularly interested in when you were close to your Indigenous people, like on a reservation, um, what kind of what musicians, what bands inspired you as a little child?
Well, being on the move so much as a kid, I had limited access to different artists. So I did learn Tupac from my grandma actually, because I learned to appreciate the songs that he has. As far as his song "Dear Mama," the way he's able to articulate how powerful of a woman she is, how impactful she was in his life, the power of being able to tell stories like that amazed me. And I wanted to develop, how can I communicate with that much passion? And so my personal story, there's so much power in that.
Are you able to write some of your personal stuff into your music, into your writing? Are you able to kind of just like open up and just let some of that come out, just to let it go and let it out? And I know, because not everybody has a beautiful, perfect story. Everybody growing up in life hasn't had the perfect everything: perfect mom, perfect dad, perfect house, perfect dog, perfect cat, perfect. People have had challenges, and people have some people have had more challenges than other, but it's how those young people come up through those challenges and how they pop out of it. And once they come into the world as a young adult, how they address some of those cycles, if they're going to fall into them and become them, either as the victim or, you know, the violent person, if that's the situation, or are they going to break that cycle, you know, because some of those cycles keep repeating, you know. It's like, you know, oh, you know, this happened, so I guess I'm it now. It's my turn, so I have to pass it on to the next generation. And that's whether it's good or bad. I mean, it's just cycles are cycles, but some people just like want to break it and just move on and just like, you know, I'm not going there. And I'm talking about like addiction and you know, suicide and stuff like that I grew up watching and seeing, and that had a big part of my life as well. So that comes through in music and art as well. So can you talk a little bit about that?
Yeah. For myself, I see it as daily work of grounding myself to if I'm able to heal myself, it helps me connect with everyone else. And that energy, you know, in a way is contagious. If you're able to heal and develop, it helps other people like, okay, yeah, I can do it too. It doesn't even always have to be something verbal. It's just that energy that you bring. And yet being from Pine Ridge, they do face a lot of challenges as far as addiction, and the list can go on. And that's also why I feel like it's so important to influence the culture in a direction that creates habits that are sustainable lifestyle, ways of living. Because it is easy, we're bombarded with a lot of ways to not feel like our best selves. But if we're able to connect with who we are, Indigenous people, our history is so deep, but it's in a lot of ways it's been strategically tried to be removed from us to lose that connection, because there's so much strength in that. If we're able to remember who we are and who we're as we continually evolve and develop ourselves, and we have that connection, we're basically unstoppable at that point. If we know who we are, we can accomplish things that no one would believe we could accomplish. And then a lot of times it's that daily work of remembering. It's a constant, it's not something that you just overcome once and then you're good. It's every day working on it, reminding yourself, whether it's affirmations. That's what I love about music, is some things need to be repeated and be a cycle and continuously remind ourselves. And it's a form of being kind, not only to other people, but being kind to yourself, because I mean, we are creatures of habit. We need to have things repeated. And if you repeatedly are kind to yourself, that energy radiates, that helps other people be kind to themselves. We're able to grow into something better instead of that divide and conquer and everyone's just out for themselves. It's not sustainable. It doesn't work. So we need to make sure we're letting that mindset go.
Right. Is there any vision, hope, prayer, or intention and desire to go back to any of your homelands and set up shop there to do art, you know, nonprofit work, festivals, and start some kind of movements? Because there's a lot of opportunities out there for you right now to do that as you gather your bearings and get yourself a name with your clothing product and your hip hop music and start getting more gigs under your belt. And I mean, I can see you with a nice van, you know, just a comfortable van cruising from powwow to powwow, festival to festival, and just setting up shop and just checking it out, you know, just kind of really opening up to see, you know, what other tribes are doing, what other people in different parts of the country are doing, how are they living, how are they thinking, how are they maintaining their communities, and it's really nice to be able to. I've been so fortunate running with Elena that I've been able to travel for a long time. We travel all the time, and it's just opened my mind up like you couldn't even believe it. I mean, I always read a lot of books because I'm a reader, and but there's just nothing like traveling, around the world and seeing what's really out there, and then coming home with a new understanding and appreciation for the home community I get to come back to and ground and be in my home and chill for a bit and then go, okay, now what? Where do we need to go next? But that art is the movement. That art is the wings. That art is the wheels. That art is the travel. Because when we have that, doesn't matter if it's music, if it's some paintings, if it's sand paintings, if it's books, whatever, it's going to get you on planes. So have you thought about that?
Yeah, every form of art is story, and is sharing that story. Originally, Oak Nation Fair powwow in South Dakota. I remember going to that back when people still were playing CDs in their cars, and I would make my mixtape. I would be giving the CDs out, and I just got into making shirts. So very early, first level learning it all, getting my bearings straight. And I had, similar to Indigenous Ways, just that connection, feel being, with your own people, the good energy there, and being a part of it, and meeting everybody, seeing old friends, making new friends. That helps me be spiritually connected and grounded. And it's such a reminder, a good feeling of being connected and what that means. I want to keep doing that. Like you said, being able to travel, it's just developing. The more the artist, the more you put into it, there's just so many opportunities. It really is endless. You can't put a limit on how far really pushing into your story, into your artistry, how far it could take you, and
Oh,
uplift the culture.
that's right. That's right. As you travel, you're a representation of your tribes. So when you put yourself out there, you got to think about all the ancestors that are traveling with you and that you really are protected and you are being watched over, and a lot of it is about the choices you make, of course. I mean, we can make choices and put ourselves at risk, but that's our choice to step into there going, well, I'm going to do it because it's tempting. I'm going to go there and I hope I come out of it. And most of the time it's a yes, but it really comes back down to our choice. Where do we want to put ourselves every single day when we step out that door? And every single time we turn on that device, every time we open up our laptop or our iPad or turn on our streaming platforms, like, what do we want to put in here? What do we want to put in here? And all of that means so much. So the last question now, actually I have two more questions before I pass it over to Elena. Uh, I've been thinking lately about Gen Z and now Gen A's coming up and about technology. And you all have been born into devices. I mean, you got into school, and I don't know what your situation was like in preschool and stuff like that, but uh, kids are just into computers and all that kind of stuff. So I'm just curious about how you would feel if you stepped off um, a Wi-Fi platform and stepped into a situation where there was no Wi-Fi. They're just you're unplugged, and it's just you and the earth, and the community you're with, or the trees around you, and there's just no access to contact anybody. Would that be something that would be inspiring to you? Do you think you would crash and burn, or would you be able to survive without an internet connection?
Sometimes I need that walk to go out there, because nature has powers that Wi-Fi doesn't. So just
That's
just,
right.
just connecting. Um, I feel like it's so powerful, because whatever way you carry on, a lot of things compete for our attention in the digital space, whether it's constant ads, just never ending scrolling. A lot of things are competing for our attention. So having that balance of of nature to, you know, because before this past, 100 years ago, we didn't have this constant screens in our face. So a lot of I think our bodies are still used to having more of a connection with nature. So I think it's important to still have that balance in our life. I think that's how our bodies came from the earth. It's important to still be connected to the earth. And if you're facing any struggles, a lot of people get really frustrated with, social media, on and on. It's a constant, barrage of things, but you're able to just let all that mental weight go. I feel like our headspace is also a spiritual space. And we want to be mindful of what we're letting into this spiritual space that we have up here, because that's our home. We live inside ourselves as well. This is our home too. So we want to keep it, we want to clean it out every now and then. Anything that doesn't serve us, let it go. Let those electrons go back to the earth and
all right,
reconnect.
You got some really beautiful mind, body, and spirit ideologies for yourself going on, and I just hope and pray that you're going to continue on this journey, and I'm really looking forward to seeing you prosper, and as you get those million followers, and as you get big, that you are able to stay the beautiful you that you are today, which is beautiful and humble. So that's my prayer for you, is that you don't let ego step in the way, because let's face it, you are a beautiful young man. So that's just the way it is. You're a beautiful young man, and I hope you're able to maintain your beauty, which is the humility, the beautiful essence you have inside of you. So the last question I have for you is, our theme this year came from one of our board members, Nicole Oxendine, and she's Lumbee and Cuban, and she came up with this beautiful line, which is, ancestrality, they whisper me through. What does that mean to you?
That's powerful. They whisper me through. I don't think there's the challenges that we go through. Our ancestors have already went through a lot of these challenges, and they still care about us. They still support us, even if we can't see them right, physically right here. We're still able to call on that strength. When we're facing a challenge that's new to us, we can bring our ancestors with us in those challenges. Because if the challenges might be new to us, it's not new to them. They might have seen this 100 times already. And they could guide us one step at a time. We could get through it. They could whisper us through.
Oh, beautiful. I want to write that down. That was the best answer I've heard so far. So I ask every artist that comes on this show. Thank you very much, Wiyaka. Congratulations on your graduation from the Institute of American Indian Arts. I am going to pass it over to the beautiful Elena.
Thank you so much for that, Tash, Wiyaka. It's, I'm so excited in so many ways. And one being, when we said, hey, Wiyaka is on, everyone was so excited. We spoke to a lot of them remembering you at the IndigenousWays festival, or you're singing, you're hip hopping, and just your true essence, and sharing with all of us this evening, your amazing wisdom. Thank you, thank you, thank you. So this is that beautiful time where go into a little commercial break, and if there's time, we're going to invite people to come in if you've got any comments or questions for Wiyaka. So please put on to your calendars next month at the IndigenousWays Wisdom Circle, which is Wednesday, July the 17th, 6 to 7 p.m. Mountain Daylight Time. we have the beautiful Simona Real. She'll be joining us in the Wisdom Circle. She too is a graduate, recent, the same as Wiyaka in May, from the Institute of American Indian Arts, IAIA. So she's going to be joining us. And one of the reasons for that is she is one of the amazing performers at our August and last festival, the IndigenousWays Festival, August the 16th, which I look forward to telling you about. And also, while we had Wiyaka on, I know you would have fallen in love with him, but you can actually see him in person on the 16th of August. He's going to be opening up the show. And also he'll have his booth selling his amazing clothing wear. So that's really exciting. So if you want to find out more or you want to watch Wiyaka again, you can. He is one of 200 presenters in our archives at the IndigenousWays.org website, on our archives library, where we started the 1st of April 2020, when, remember that COVID hit. So he will be archived there in the next 48 hours. If you want to take in more of his amazing wisdom that you just witnessed, or you want to share that with friends, please do. You can also subscribe to our newsletter at our website, IndigenousWays.org. And also you'll see below me flashing all our social media sites. If you're watching on one of those sites at the moment or the recorded, please like or subscribe to these pages. Now, all of our virtual events and the festivals in person have been free. They also provide ASL access. Our interpreter right now is the beautiful Ray Lynn Skeets. And also you saw Mariah Garcia, who are making access available to all. So everyone is able to access this amazing wisdom from our youth right up to our elders and our archives. And want to acknowledge our sponsors, the National Endowment of the Arts, the City of Santa Fe Arts and Culture Department, and also the Santa Fe Community Foundation, which is the Native American Advice Fund. Thank you also to all our board members and individual donors. I also want to give a plug to the City of Santa Fe Arts and Culture Department, because we found out last night, just hot off the press, that they have funded another round for our Wisdom Circle and also for our festival for next year. And what will happen starting January the 1st, 2025, we will be doing the Wisdom Circle hybrid. So live in person and also what we're doing now. So this amazing worldwide audience we've gained, we don't leave you behind. So thank you to the City of Santa Fe. And some of you know, and we're there, like Wiyaka selling his amazing product. We had our second IndigenousWays Festival for 2024, which happened to be our 10th festival down at the Santa Fe Rail Yard. So what you're looking at are some shots from the community, from four-leggeds, puppies, from babies, right up to elders, coming out and enjoying the festivities, seeing Indigenous, Native American, our two-spirit LGBTQIA+, and deaf and hard of hearing presenters that were on, which was really, really exciting. And all of this is possible not only from our sponsors, but also the amount of volunteers that came on. So if you want to volunteer for August, we have the beautiful Donna and Christine from Ohio. In the past, they have come down just to help out. So we're grateful for that. This is the T-shirt for all our volunteers and a feed. So reach out if you want to be a part of that. I think we had something like 35, 40 volunteers for June, and we're going to have huge numbers. It's just a wonderful occasion, but we can't do it without your help. And then this is our festival that will be coming up, 16th of August. Again, the beautiful Wiyaka will be opening with some hip hop music. Not only is he doing that, he will have his own vendor. So we've got artisan vendors, food vendors, workshops, face painting for the kids, art tables, lots and lots of workshops galore that you can really enjoy. So that is what is going to be happening at the rail yard. Whether you're coming in person or watching it broadcast, please go to our website, IndigenousWays.org, to register for either live or the live broadcasting or in person, so we know, get a shot of who's coming. Closing out the season is the extraordinary singer-songwriter Purify, who is the founder of Ulali. She will be closing out our 24 season, as well as Wade Fernandez. And in June in the Wisdom Circle will be the beautiful Simona Real. She is also going to have a fashion show, amazing work. So not only is she playing, she's got a cohort of students from IAIA who'll be straightening the stuff with this incredible fashion show that she'll be putting on. If you're able to give to keep us into the habit of what we're doing with the donation page, you can either PayPal us, Venmo, on our website, IndigenousWays.org. There's the donate button, or you can do snail mail with what we're seeing on the side there. So I want to take that time to really thank everyone. There was so much to share. What usually happens is we bring everyone on, but we're at the top of the hour. So I want to thank everyone for coming on. We've got a lot of IAIA alumni, as well as those that have just joined this year. Thank you so much for coming on. Also to our board members, Homer, who is on, and those that haven't been here before because the beautiful Wiyaka invited you. We'd love to see you next month for that session there. Again, thank you to our amazing ASL interpreters, Mariah and the beautiful Raylyn. We look forward to seeing you same time, same channel, July the 17th with Simone Rael. But, thank you, each and every one of you, not only for beaming in, but those people watching the recording or the live in our social media or the recording in the social media. But let's give it up hugely for the one and only Wiyaka.
Thank you. And thank you for all the incredible work that you guys and the kind words that you guys. I really appreciate everything you guys do. This is a beautiful festival that you guys put so much into. So thank you.
We'll see you in August.
August 16th.
Yes, please. Can't wait.
Touch the earth.